Guys, check this out. These are the billet tie downs for the 4th gen Tacoma from Charvonia Designs. Give the bed of your Tacoma a little bit more styling and functionality with these tie downs. Let's go ahead and show you guys how to get these installed. So first off, we're going to be installing all of these in the red anodized finish. There is a bunch of different finishes that you can get from them. Also, they have 2 different powder coat finishes. So if you want some powder coat, you might think that may last longer or be a little bit more durable. You can go that route as well. The anodizing on these parts is very high quality. They do a good job when it comes to anodizing their parts, but I just want to note, anodized parts, if they are left out in the sun, they will start to fade over time. So if you do not have a bed cover or you don't have a cap and these things are constantly seeing rain, sun, they are going to fade. If you don't want that to happen or you don't have a bed cover, then I would suggest maybe going with the powder coat option. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the rail tie downs here. These are going to be mounting on the side of your Tacoma. So you can put as many of these in here on both sides as you want, also in the rail up front. These do come in a pair. So just note, if you want to have 2 on this side, 2 on that side, you're gonna have to get 2 pairs. So with the side rails included is these, which you're gonna have to pop out this plastic clip right here. This piece, you're gonna slide in, and then it comes with some hardware to get it mounted. Now, we have some optional stuff here. These are the speed knobs. So once you have those installed, you can easily just loosen and tighten these with your fingers and slide them up and down these rails versus using an Allen key. Next up, we have the bed tie-down rails. Those are gonna go all the way up here on either side of your bed. So there's 2 torque screws we're gonna have to remove, and then it comes with some new hardware. We can go ahead and install those in place. Again, these come in a pair, and your Tacoma has 2 of these, so a pair is all you're gonna need. Last up, we have the billet D-rings here. These are gonna be replacing the factory ones at the back of your Tacoma bed. Simply take a Torx bit, pull out this factory bolt, and then we can reinstall the new ones, and these look much better. Now, if you don't want to buy all of these individually, Charvonia does make a kit for the Tacoma. It's going to come with 4 of the side rail tie downs, and it's also going to come with 2 of the front bed tie downs. You're going to have to buy the D-rings separately though. All right, so we took a look at everything we're going to be installing on the Tacoma. Let's take a look at all the tools are going to be needed to get this job done. So right here on the tailgate, we have the tools we're going to be using, starting out with a 3/8 drive ratchet. We also have a short extension, and we have a T40 Torx bit. We have a 6mm Allen wrench, and then we have a small tube of blue Loctite that we're going to be applying to some of the bolts that we installed. The last 2 tools here you might not need. We're going to be using these because we do have a aftermarket sprayed on bed liner. So the hammer we're going to be using up here at these front tie downs. They did spray over these bolts, and we might have to hit in the Torx socket so that we get a good bite before we go ahead and crack those loose. And then we also have a utility knife, which we might use to cut around the edge so that when we do pull these off, it doesn't potentially peel the bed liner off with it. This job isn't going to be too difficult. We're going to give this a 1 out of 3 on the difficulty scale, so minimal mechanical skills is going to be required to get this job done. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead, grab our parts, and start this install. All right, so we're going to start with removing the factory D-rings here. So we're going to take our ratchet, our extension, and our T40 Torx bit, and we're going to go ahead and loosen these up. Go ahead, break those free. All right, so we got the factory tie down removed. We are going to be reusing the factory bolt, the spacer, and the lock washer as well, but we are going to be adding this plastic washer to our new D-ring. So when you remove the factory D-ring, there is probably going to be one of these plastic pieces from factory, and more than likely it's probably going to break off. There might be some of it still inside here of the bed, and there might be some of it still around the bolt itself. So if there is, just take a flathead screwdriver, put it underneath that washer, and pop it up, and you can get this removed, removing the lock washer, the spacer, and also the bolt. All right, so we're going to take our new D-ring, we're going to take our factory bolt, we're going to put that through first, and then we're going to put everything back on in order. So we have our spacer, we have our lock washer, and then we have our flat washer. Then we're going to take that plastic washer, and we're going to install that just like that, and that's gonna hold everything so that it doesn't fall off. So we are gonna be applying some Loctite to this bolt, so we wanna make sure that the threads are clean and dry. We did just take this through the car wash and there was water and stuff in here. We wanna make sure to blow that out prior to putting in our new D-ring. All right, so we got our threads clean and dry. We're gonna go ahead and apply some blue Loctite to our bolt, and we'll go ahead and reinstall that. So in installing this plastic washer that we put on is a little bit bigger than the hole here. So what you need to do is put it in on an angle. Once you get half of it in place, you can go ahead and push it down all the way, and we can get our bolt started. All right, so we got that one installed. We have it nice and tight. There's no specific torque spec on that, but we just made sure that it is good and tight. And as you can see, this is still operational. This spins and folds as it should, and this looks much better than the factory one. All right, so we got both of our D-rings installed and they look much better than the factory ones. If you guys saw, we do have this rubber flap here. If you guys are interested in something like this to keep things from falling in between the bed and your tailgate, we just did an install video of this. You can check it out. Moving on, we're gonna be doing the rail tie downs next. So we are gonna be installing 4 of these. So if you get the kit, you are gonna get 4. And I think what we're gonna do for this is install 1 on this side with the speed knobs so that you can loosen them by hand, slide them up and down according to whatever it is that you're trying to tie down. We're gonna put 1 of those on this side, 1 on the other side, and then we're gonna put 2 on this front rail using the included hardware that it comes with. All right, so we're gonna start with pre-assembling these before we go ahead and get them installed. So we're gonna take 1 of our tie downs, we're gonna take 1 of our pieces that go on the backside. You can see there is this little protrusion here of aluminum. That's gonna be sticking up towards the actual tie down itself. And then since we're gonna be using these speed knobs for the side, we're gonna take 1 of those and we're going to just get the threads started on each side. So we have this assembled. The first thing we need to do is pull off this plastic cap here on the end of your rail. So you're just gonna push in the center and pull it back and this will get removed. So now we can take our pre-assembled tie down and we're gonna go ahead and slip this into the rail like so. Now you can just put this wherever you want and you can tighten this down by hand and you can easily loosen it and move it. We can go ahead and put our end piece back in. We'll move this all the way towards the back and we'll get this tightened down. Let's go ahead and do the other side. All right, so we got both sides of those installed. Now we're gonna go ahead and install the front ones. It's gonna be the same deal. We're gonna take the tie down, we're gonna take the piece that comes with it, but for the front ones, we're gonna be using the supplied hardware. So it's gonna be the same exact install, except we won't have those speed knobs. We'll drop in the Allen bolts. We'll get those started, and then we can go up there and get both of those installed. So I just wanted to note, one side has nothing on it. The other side has the logo and the Made USA and the patent. So if you want, you can put this side up so it's nice and clean. All right, so same thing up here on the front rail. We're gonna remove our plastic end cap. And now we can take both of our new tie downs and we'll go ahead and slide both of them in. If for some reason you find it that you can't get it started, just loosen up the bolt a little bit. And there you go. So we're gonna go ahead, pop this back in, and now we can tighten these down where we want. I'm gonna put 1 towards this end, 1 towards that end, and just make them so that they're nice and symmetrical. We'll go ahead and tighten them up. All right, and that leaves us with the last set of bed tie downs for the very front of our bed. Now these ones might be a little bit more difficult for us because we do have the spray-on bed liner. If you guys don't have that, these bolts should come out fairly easy. So we're gonna take the Torx bit and our hammer. We're gonna go up there and get this seated into the bolt before we go ahead and break those loose. And like I mentioned earlier, we also have the utility knife so that we could go around that to cut the bed liner so that that mount can come off a little bit easier. All right, so with our T40 Torx bit, we're gonna get it lined up with the bolt head. And now we'll take our hammer and we'll tap it in until that Torx bit seats all the way down in, and then we can break it loose. So as you can see, we're trying to use a pick and get this out. This bed liner is really tough, and it's hard for me to even hammer in the Torx socket. So I'm gonna try to get this out as much as possible. There we go. Now with that completely removed from the head of the bolt, we can go ahead and get this removed. All right, we got both bolts removed, but as you can see, the bed liner is still holding that in. I could go and rip this off, but I could potentially end up ripping more than I want. So I'm gonna take the knife and I'm gonna try to score around just this bracket and pull just that off. All right, so we got that one removed cleanly, and now we can take our new one here and get this installed. It does have it labeled on the side, the torque spec, so 20 foot-pounds. We're gonna be tightening the new bolts too. So we'll go ahead and take the new hardware, we'll drop those in, and we'll get those tightened down. Now, if you wanna torque these down, you can. If not, I would just make them tight with the Allen wrench, and that should be fine. All right, guys, we got all the billet tie downs installed from Charvonia Design on the 4th Gen Tacoma. If you guys have any questions about the install of any of these tie downs, make sure to ask us down below in the comments. And if you want to pick a set of these up for your Tacoma, make sure to head over to YotaXpedition.com. Click the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.